Well, the verdict is in, and it is guilty. The jury says former Hinds County interim sheriff Marshawn Chrysler did accept $9,500 in bribe money in exchange for providing ammunition to a convicted felon. Chrysler committed the crimes back in 2021, not long after he was appointed to the position. He now faces up to 2 decades in prison. 3 Side's Quentin Smith has been covering this case from gavel to gavel. He has the latest on today's guilty verdict.
It took the 12 jurors nearly 2 hours to reach that verdict. Once the guilty verdicts were read in court, shock and disbelief immediately set in for Chrysler as well as the family members in court supporting him. Chrysler continues to maintain his innocence.
I'm going to reserve my right to my account.
As he makes his way inside his car, Chrysler didn't have much to say after finding out he was found guilty in a bribery investigation.
Extremely upset, obviously. The whole family is, as anybody would be.
The jury found Chrysler guilty on both charges being brought against him. 1 count of taking bribes in exchange for favors during his time as sheriff, and 1 count of providing ammunition to a known convicted felon. We now know that convicted felon is Tanari Moore. Moore agreed to work with the FBI as an informant in this investigation. Everything dates back to September of 2021. According to Moore, by giving the $9,500, Chrysler promised to move one of his cousins to a safer part of the jail. He also promised to give him a heads up if his name ever came across his desk, and he also promised to give him a job at the jail. Prosecutors also say Chrysler gave Moore 14 rounds of ammunition and offered to have Moore's record expunged. While in court, prosecutors played audio and video recordings of the 2 men exchanging money and speaking on these favors. Now that he's been found guilty, Chrysler faces up to 20 years in prison and a fine of up to $500,000. John Coletti is representing Chrysler. And despite it not being filed on a campaign finance report, Coletti continues to emphasize that his client took the money strictly as a campaign donation.
We're very disappointed with the verdict. Marshawn maintains his innocence. He never sold his job. But we got to respect the jury's verdict at this point, and we certainly will be looking at our appeal in the future.
Chrysler will remain out of jail on bond until his sentencing date, which is set to take place on February 6th. Reporting from outside the federal courthouse, I'm Quentin Smith.